the routine weekly briefing for Central North Carolina, starting today, January 5th, 2026, and then going through the weekend, Sunday, January 11th. Welcome to 2026 and Happy New Year, everyone. All right, let's take a quick look here at the upcoming weather pattern for Central North Carolina today. For the most part, dry, and that will be the case for the most part through a large portion of the next week. But we have a frontal system that's going to be approaching us on Wednesday, and that's probably just going to hang around over the area for a little bit Wednesday night, and then lift back north on Thursday. So that might be the only caveat to the general warming trend that we're going to be expecting all the way through Friday, and we'll have a much stronger system. You can kind of see here on the bottom right, it's actually starting to pull away on Sunday, a couple different fronts coming across us. But we should get ahead of that front, get up to near record warmth on Friday, especially down in Fayetteville, perhaps even the Raleigh-Durham area. And that next front that I kind of highlighted there, that's going to be our next chance to bring some rain, maybe some showers and breezy conditions. So we'll be on the lookout for any kind of hazardous conditions with that frontal passage. But for now, I'm not expecting anything too crazy, but we'll keep an eye on that and update you guys accordingly. And behind that front, our temperatures are going to cool off to around near normal for early January, and then that should persist into next week. I mentioned some rain chances here. You can kind of see today, Tuesday, Wednesday up across the top, all dry, even Thursday. And then Friday, we're starting to see some of those light and moderate green colors starting to move in towards the triad there and even towards the triangle. And that's mostly Friday, maybe late Friday into Friday night. There's a lot of uncertainty on when that rain is going to start and when it's going to come to an end, really tied around the frontal passage time, which has a lot of uncertainty associated with it. But we're starting to hone in on that timing. And it seems to be maybe late Friday into Saturday, and then maybe moving out late Saturday and into Sunday. Seems to be the time window that we are narrowing in on. So it doesn't look like it's going to be a washout by any means through the whole weekend. Just a chance of rain, mostly light amounts too, nothing too much to write home about, but we'll have more details on that on the Thursday briefing. All right, I'm not going to show any of the flooding rain threat since the overall amounts for the next 5 days are very low, so no flooding risk there. And then thunderstorm, although it doesn't look like a whole lot on here, we are watching that frontal passage on Saturday for some potential stronger winds right around the cold front, maybe some showers. We'll bring in some regionally higher wind gusts. So we'll keep an eye on that and we'll keep you updated. That's really the only thing hazardous as far as severe weather goes that we're looking at. And then we'll take a look here at the extended portion of the long-term forecast here. In the next week 2, we'll look at. So very near normal temperatures expected, equal chances of below average or normal. So nothing really to write home about there. And you can kind of see the normal temperatures down across the bottom, upper 40s to low 50s across the area, and lows near normal is actually below freezing for all 3 climate sites for this time of the year in the mid-January timeframe. And then for the precipitation outlook, we're slightly favoring some below normal precipitation chances, which isn't particularly great as we have some widespread drought conditions across a large portion of North Carolina if you missed that on Thursday. But yeah, we'd really love to see some more steady rain to kind of eat into those drought areas. All right, here's the experimental graphical hazardous weather outlook. You can see that fog is highlighted pretty heavily there. We will dive into that here in just a second. That's probably the only hazardous thing that we really could talk about on this briefing here. So I'll dive out for just a second and pull up our satellite imagery. Hopefully this looks okay on the broadcast here, but you can kind of get a general sense here. From central North Carolina over towards the mountains up through upstate South Carolina into northeastern Georgia, we have some widespread cloud cover, and then the horizontal dashed lines is fog and or mist being reported. So you can kind of see even some drizzle for a little bit of time was reported out in the triad, so you may have seen a little bit of that this morning. And for the most part, this area that we see is going to expand northward and then over us, at least as far as some of the fog and more cloud cover that lingers through a majority of the day tonight into Tuesday morning. So here's a little look at the graphical hazardous weather outlook here, and you can kind of see this is the risk for Tuesday morning. And you can kind of see the purple on here for fog for today. That's actually tonight. So Maybe see some patchy dense fog in some spots. That's really the only thing that's of any concern for there. And then the fog potential. And then I wanted to show just some probabilities here. We have a little tool that we can graphically show this here. So I'm centered over central North Carolina and put on the cursor the readouts here so you can kind of see what the probabilities of some fog are for your area. So 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock here, not expecting anything too crazy. But then as we start to get well into the evening and early nighttime, overnight period, you can kind of see those probabilities of less than a mile or so. That's what we're highlighting here. Fog starting to show up here in the triad at 11 p.m. And then that starts to expand as we get into the overnight period. And then we're at 2 a.m. here. We're starting to get into the likely portions of some fog out across the triad. And then as we approach daytime hours, it really starts to expand across a larger portion of the area, up around 80% in the triad and up over 50 to 60% in the triangle. So this is 7 a.m. probably when around the time where it'll be at its worst, between 7 and 9 a.m. And then we'll start to see that disperse and lift up into Virginia and disperse as far as any fog or dense fog is concerned by 10 a.m. or so. All right, so that was a little look at the fog. Provided something a little bit more interactive for you guys to on today here. So that's all I really have for you guys today. We'll do a little wrap up gradual warming trend, maybe near record temperatures at a couple climate sites on Friday, or at least getting close to it. And then a cold front on most likely Saturday will bring our next best chance of rain, maybe some breezy conditions. And then temperatures cool off behind that front. And really the only hazard we're looking for are for areas of fog potentially dense at times tonight into Tuesday morning.